Hi, everyone, and welcome back to another amazing workshop here at Inspire 2026. We have a lot in store for this workshop, so stay tuned because you don't want to miss it. And reminder, every workshop has two live challenges to get that exclusive virtual item. So make sure you don't miss out and make sure to keep your eyes peeled for those two QR codes. But I am so excited to introduce this speaker. Give it up for Gooberish in the chat. Gooberish, how are you feeling right now?
Pretty good. It's been a pretty good day. Very hot, but overall, pretty good.
Amazing. Well, we are so excited to see what you have, and whenever you're ready, the floor is all yours.
Thank you. Hey everyone. I'm Carson, also known as Goober underscore ish, and today I'll be talking about how to strive for success before, during, and after the Inspire Challenge. So, to get started, I will be going over what we'll be discussing today. Firstly, I will be going into introducing myself and our game, Honest Detective. After that, I will talk about the steps to take before the Inspire Challenge. Then, the challenge begins, to which I will go into detail about how to set goals and manage your time. And then lastly, I'll explain what steps we took during after last year's Inspire Challenge that helped us become Honest Detective become what it is today. And then it would be time for the Q&A. So to get started, I would like to introduce me, Gooba. I'm one of the 5 founders of Armless Detective. I've currently been active on Roblox for 8 years and counting, which I'm just now realizing is that's about a decade long. And of those 8 years, I've been developing on Roblox for 2 of those years. Which during those years I spent designing games and then modeling for said games. But I also do a little voice acting here and there. It's one of my favorite things to do. But less about me and more about our game, Armless Detective. It was created in August of last year. It was made for last year's Inspire Challenge, and it was made in 3 days. The game centered around placing yourself in a crime scene using your one tool with many uses at your disposal to solve the crime at hand. And P.S., one tool with many uses was last year's theme. And we built this game, and we ended up winning third place for best technical quality. But it doesn't just stop at winning the third place, there's much more. Over the year, we've garnered over 73 million visits and counting, 56,000 likes on our game, and we've also had 8 successful content updates. Um, for the Inspire Challenge, we made a group to host all of our developers and stuff, and we have 400,000 group members in that said group. Besides stuff on Roblox, though, we also have official merchandise and much more. Moving on from me and my game, it's time to get to the nitty gritty of challenge preparation. And I will be talking about how me and our team prepared for last year's Inspire 2025 challenge. First off, speaking of teams, is making a team. Try to find people right for you. If you tend to work harder, find people who want to put just as much effort as you. If you want to be more laid back, then find a team that's okay with taking it a little slower. Side note, when we made our team, me and the other founders of Armless Detective already knew each other, and we were pretty close friends. But we had never developed anything together, but we used the Inspire Challenge as a chance to try something new, which allowed us to connect and become better friends than when the challenge began. And you can too. And ask yourself right now and try to figure out what sort of team you would want. Moving on from teams, something you should be thinking about while building your team is building a team with a variety of skill sets. A team of just builders will never have any coding done, and vice versa. Also, think about this now. What kind of skill sets do you have? What kind of skill sets do you need to be looking for? But while all this team talk is going on, most importantly, make sure to be kind to one another. Um, Moving on, once you have your team together, something y'all can start doing before the challenge even begins is brainstorming. The annual Inspire Challenge always has a theme/category your game must include as a part of the challenge, but you can still come up with ideas for gameplay. Of course, don't go too in depth, but thinking of ideas with your team allows connections to grow stronger and gives some ground to stand on for when the prompt is announced. For example, when I was participating in the Inspire Challenge last year, me and my team brainstormed about making an obby type game before we even knew the prompt, which, of course, by the looks of things, didn't pan out correctly. But at the end of the day, it still worked out. But besides that, whilst brainstorming, make sure everyone has a say in in the game by taking everyone's input into consideration. You don't want to leave someone out because that's just rude. And if you're the person stuck in this situation, take it from me to not be afraid to speak up if something isn't sitting right with you. But another thing you can be doing before the challenge is dividing workload. Once you've found your team an idea of what type of game you'll create, and I'd like to reiterate, can totally change once the theme is out, you should start to assign each other roles. You can do this by dividing workload according to the skill sets. Make sure no one is going to be overloaded with work, but also make sure no one is going to be left out during actual development. It's good to do this beforehand, so there's no need to worry about it during the challenge, as it may be confusing to sort out once everyone has already started developing and the whole rush is on you. But moving on from stuff to do before the challenge, it's time for our first live challenge. Which the question is, what is the point of the brainstorming process? And make sure to scan the QR code so you have a chance to win that free item. And that's where you answer as well. I don't know which one it could be. Okay, moving on from the first live challenge. Real chat and the right answer was all of the above. But the challenge begins, and for a little inspiration, let's act this out. So per se, this year's theme is you're not supposed to be here. So for this, my idea off the top of my head would be maybe to make a sort of game where you somehow glitch into this like sort of backrooms-esque area, right? And in this area, you have to try to figure out how to escape the fastest possible because there's monsters and ghouls and ghastlies that'll get you in the process. And maybe there could be like multiple ways to escape. Like you could maybe bust down this wall to get out, or maybe you can go through this door and it takes you even deeper into the back rooms area. But that's my idea. What was yours? Think about it. Would you have the same idea as me, or would you have done something different? I don't know. But moving on from this little demo, let's get back to the slides, shall we? So, during the challenge, what should be on your mind at all times is work, work, work. If you want to win, you must stay determined and never give up. And if you happen to finish your work early, maybe ask your teammates if you can help them out with their work. Though, also, with work, work, work on your mind, remember to take breaks when needed. You don't want to burn yourself out because burnout causes no work to be done, which is not what you want. This happened to one of our teammates last year, and we had to take his spot for like his work, which we still managed to work it out, but it did add stress to making the game, and it was just, I wouldn't recommend burning yourself out. But while working and developing ideas, one key detail that everyone on your team, including you, should keep in mind is to plan ahead. For Almost Detective during the challenge, we planned ahead for what we could possibly do, and if you want to plan ahead for a successful game after the challenge, here's what I recommend doing. Plan for future updates. Build the game around being able to be changed and edited easily without losing quality of your submission. We did this with Almost Detective by making it more modular instead of hard coding stuff into the game. But also, speaking of planning ahead, don't be afraid to not be able to finish or add certain things. Remember, you only have 3 days to build the best game possible, so not everything can be finished, and it's best to try and size your time out for what you can and can't do without running out of time. Though, speaking of time, make sure to also leave time to test your game. If your game is awesome but doesn't function correctly at the end of the day, it really ticks off from your submission. We participated in another game jam that was also on Roblox, not Inspire, and we made a game called Final Contact. It was a classic style roguelike game where you go between planets fighting waves of enemies. We worked really hard on it and the game overall was great, but towards the end we made some changes that we weren't able to test, and in turn it caused our game to break and be hardly playable after the first 2 out of 5 planets. It was really upsetting, but in the long run, we learn to always test our games before submitting them. And you should always remember that as well. But to add more sorrow, the challenge is over. Yes, but the fun isn't. After the challenge, be sure to not update or make changes to your game until the results come out. You don't want to be disqualified because that disqualifies you. But while waiting, you could totally strengthen the relationships with your team. Maybe they can work with you on other future projects. Or you could also try to build a community around your game. Make a Discord server, maybe even make a TikTok. You could also use this time, if you want to keep working on the game, to think of more ideas, what you could add, more features you could do, or figure out if the game is for you. You don't have to continue working on a game after the challenge if you don't enjoy it. You're not stuck or locked into it, so keep that in mind as well. You can also just think of updates for the future. Another thing I recommend doing is listening in. Listen to community suggestions and take everything you can into consideration. This could be a real game changer. Um, Listen to feedback as well. If something you add or aren't adding isn't sitting well with the community, you can resort to these 3 points listed here. You could rethink, consider the community's input, and think about the feedback from their perspective. You could rework, change/incorporate what the community wants, but most importantly, what you and your team want, or remove. If something isn't working out or it can't be completed, it's definitely fine to scrap it. We've scrapped a bunch of things that our community didn't like, but we've also added some stuff or reworked some stuff. Moving on from listening in, you should always be looking out for opportunities and also advertising. Um, have social media outreach. It's completely free, but if you have Robux, you could also put it into that. We've personally advertised on Roblox with Robux, and it worked flawlessly with us. We also have a TikTok account that's garnered over 20,000 followers and counting, and our videos that we post whenever we are about to update Armless Detective have got us a bunch of more players, which in turn has been really good because it was completely free to make a TikTok account. But besides advertising, be on the lookout for opportunities that come your way. Don't miss out on any of them, or try not to miss out on any of them. But don't just look for them, also search for them as well. That's how we had most of our collabs, like with Retro Tower Defense and Brace. But that's also not just collaborations. That's how we got our own makeshift plushie, which I mean turned out to be great for us. It got us a bunch of stuff in real life, and we literally have our own little guy. There he is. He looks just like me. But moving on from advertising and opportunities, now's your opportunity to complete this live challenge. You can use the QR code right there, scan it, answer the question, get yourself that free item. Pretty interesting, I'd say. I think it looked pretty good. But make sure to answer. You gotta answer, or you don't get it at all. That would be bad. I think time's almost up. for the live challenge? Um, okay. But if you answered this, you're correct. It's B. But after this live challenge, I think that's the end of my presentation. Thanks and good luck on this year's Inspire Challenge. But we also have the Q&A as well.
Yes, everyone give a round of applause for Gooberish. What an amazing job. And like he mentioned, the Inspire Challenge is coming up on July 31st, 10 a.m. PT. So be on the lookout for that because that is when we'll be dropping our theme for this year. So very excited for that. But like he mentioned, we're going to be hopping straight into Q&A. So we do have a couple questions that people have been trickling in throughout your workshop. So, first off, any tips for newcomers or anything to know before even starting the challenge?
Um, I guess before starting the challenge, kind of get maybe practice a little bit in studio. Before the challenge started, me and my team, we made this like little practice game, and we just kind of it was like a little goofing off, but we were kind of figuring out like, oh, we can all build this thing together. We can all work on this, or like our coders would like code a little something, and we made like a little game where you just sat down in a chair and then it like exploded. It was fun. It was really fun. So maybe try to collaborate with some people or figure out what you're good at yourself. Is my
Yeah,
recommendation.
yeah, I think that's a great tip, especially for people who are meeting new people through this challenge. Get to know each other, get to know each other's strengths, and go from there. Yeah. And what habits help a team stay organized before, during, and after the challenge?
Could you repeat that?
Yeah. What habits help a team stay organized before, during, and after a challenge?
Ooh, what habits help a team stay organized? I would say communication. Making sure to stay communicative of like what a person's doing, what a person should be doing, or what's already done. Me and my team, we have this group chat that we made, and that's where everything is. We can look back on a certain date, see what we need. We can pin certain things. Um, and overall, it's just been a great help to have communication, because with no communications, you wouldn't even know what to be working on or what is already done. You could be making something that someone's already working on. So I think communicate having a habit of communication is really good, but also try to stay motivated as possible, and try to help out with your team as well. If you need help, then ask for help. If you don't need help, don't ask for help, but ask other people for help. Offer.
Yeah, communication is definitely key. And not only communication, but knowing each other's, strengths too. And
Yes.
it kind of ties into the next question is how do you balance speed, teamwork, and quality all within 72 hours?
Oof. How do we balance that? Um, I would say that how we balanced it was we kind of secluded ourselves off from like we kind of just like stuck in this like little small group of people for the whole 72 hours. So we always like stayed kept our minds on the game, right? We would have breaks and stuff where we played like little games and whatnot, but we tried to mainly keep the focus on the Inspire Challenge, which really helped us with the time. And that I mean, that's really all I would really say on that one.
Yeah, and working with teammates, how do you handle it when teammates have very different ideas about their vision for the challenge?
I would well, what we did, because some of us still wanted to make the obby like I mentioned, but some of us wanted to try to change it to something else. We kind of compromised of sorts, right? So in the obby, we were gonna have one tool with many uses, and it was gonna be a hat, right? So we were thinking, well, what if we make a game where you're a detective with a magical hat that has a bunch of gadgets, right? Try to come with up with like compromises that takes someone's idea and someone else's idea and kind of work it together. That's what we did mainly. But another thing, if that doesn't work out, is try to weigh out the pros and cons. Like, oh, if we make an obby game that's only like a one-time play game, You can't go back on it. You can't like there's not much replayability. But with with like the game we have now, Honest Detective, we made it to where there's a bunch of replayability. You can replay and get a different suspect each time, or you can replay on a different map. Maybe play with friends now. We didn't have multiplayer at the beginning, but we added it, and now you can play with friends. So
Yeah.
I think that's the thing I would say.
Yeah. And, after the challenge, you talked about getting feedback from your community and hearing what the players really liked and may not so liked. So, what are
Mhm.
the best ways to gather player feedback without overreacting or, realizing that like not all the feedback weighs the same?
Um, I think the I would say how we gathered I'm gonna start on how we gathered feedback. We have a Discord server for Armless Detective, and there people have just been suggesting stuff, and we look at almost everything we can, but some things are like really good, and we like mark down. Other things, not maybe not so much, but we still look at it and like think about it a little bit. But for feedback about how your game is and how it isn't, I would say take everything, don't take anything to heart, right? Because that just would get you really upset with some of the stuff people say. But I would say always take everything into consideration because most of the time people playing your game know more about your game than you do. Sometimes, um, because they're playing it all the time. But I would say to don't try not to take anything to heart when people are commenting stuff about your game, but always think about it deeply before just getting rid of it, you know?
Yeah. And, 72 hours for a challenge is very, very intense. Whether you're doing a solo or with a team, it's a lot of work and it's getting get very tiring. So, how do
Mhm.
you just keep morale up, not just with yourself, but with the team? I know you touched on it a little bit in your presentation, but just going more in depth on like what you really did to make sure that you guys were able to hit that final milestone before submission.
Um, I think we mainly what we did was we took little small breaks and we would actually play other Roblox games or we would look and see what other people were doing, like what updates people were saying they were doing on their game and we were like, "Oh, that's so cool." But yeah, make sure to always take breaks. That's what kept us going, but also um just have fun overall. Don't take it too seriously. There's always other chances, there's always other opportunities that you will get in life. So don't take it too seriously, but take it serious enough to where like, oh, I want to be determined, right?
Yeah. And, really taking care of yourself is super important during the challenge. And this question, there's a couple questions loaded into it, so bear with me a little. Overall, like how much time is a healthy amount to spend on this game jam? Is it worth it pulling all-nighters? Do you even have enough time to incorporate everything that you want? And how do you decide like what to incorporate over something else?
Okay. Well, in our personal experience with Honest Detective, we were on for our submission, we were only going to add one map, and we ended up adding two because we hadn't had time. But for all nighters and stuff like that, we did if we wanted to. We didn't force ourselves to stay up all night, as it really isn't healthy. Because then you would just fall asleep the next day, or your work would get sloppy. You know. So make sure you always get the right amount of sleep while doing the Inspire Challenge because it allows you to, be refreshed the next day and just have great work output. I would say. But yeah, don't pull all nighters. One of our teammates did it, and it did not work out too well. So, because that also adds to burnout. You can burn out really easily if you take all nighters, which would cause no work to be done and the lack of motivation. So yeah, don't pull all nighters.
Yes. And what are the most important steps creators should take after the Inspire Challenge to continue improving their skills and turning this experience not into a one-time thing, but like more long-term success?
Um, well, I would say, like I mentioned, make sure to maybe after the challenge plan ahead. Try to think of features you could add. Mainly, what I would get into is to try to build a community around your game. Maybe start advertising it while the results are still coming out. Maybe just like make like a video or two on your game, get it out there. Um, but I would mainly say to sorry. Um, what was the question?
No problem. What are the most important steps creators should take after the Inspire Challenge to continue improving their skills and turning their experience into long term success?
Oh, okay, yeah. Make sure to always keep working on your game, right? It might start out small, and don't wait for success. Success can come to you, but you gotta walk towards it first, you know. Um, but if you want to get better at what you're doing, I would say maybe while waiting for the results to come out, maybe try making something like practice in studio. Like maybe try practicing coding if you're a coder. Um, Maybe make something like trying to think off the top of my head what could be easy. Maybe make like a small little like tower defense game. You know, try coding like an enemy pathing system. That's pretty fun. Or maybe like a selection system, like a memory match game. There. But if you're a builder, I'd recommend just practicing your builds. Try different styles like classic Roblox, maybe like 2018 Roblox. There's a bunch of styles that you can try out, and I mean, I personally like 2018 Roblox style, but there's a bunch that you can try out, and that's what I would recommend figuring out.
Gotcha. And, with your team, I'm sure you guys had a lot of different ideas. Like you mentioned, like you guys almost went the obby route, but you ended up deciding different. Just how did you guys come up with these ideas? This person, I believe it's pronounced Instance, said the entire game to me has been really creative and the concept at all. Aside from the prompt giving the inspiration itself, the game had a ton of little things that are really cool. So they just want to see like how did you guys even come up with that?
Um, I I would say it was just a on the spot sort of thing. But while we were working on it, we thought of things, and that's how we added them. Like we were like, "Oh, what if there was a big boss character, and at the beginning of the game, he like introduced you, or like maybe he's like the one who tells you how to play the game in like the top little left corner of your screen, like a little tutorial sort of ordeal." But we sort of came up with ideas as we went on with the game. We just started with the armless detect. We were just started with like a detective that like didn't have any arms, but he uses one tool with many uses at his disposal to try and solve a crime. Um, but really brainstorm beforehand too, because that really helped us out. I would say. It really helps like your gears moving in like the creative sort of sense, and it just helps you with a bunch of ideas.
Yeah. And when you guys are thinking about these ideas, what is the best way to know if a game idea will actually be fun before even creation?
Ooh. Um, in my personal opinion, I would think about would you play this game? Um, like if you saw this game on Roblox, would you be like, I'm gonna try that out. I'll try that out. I'll give it a chance. And then if you're like, I probably wouldn't play that, then try to think of something else or try to think of a way that you would play it. Try to think of what you like because you probably also play Roblox other than developing on it. So you would probably know what's best.
Yeah. And I know you mentioned that like you knew your teammates beforehand, which is super awesome to see how you guys were able to come together and collab on such an amazing game. But what would you say or like recommend people should go to find teammates themselves, especially with the challenge being only a few days away?
Okay, the challenge being only a few days away, I would say, there's a Discord server for the Inspire challenges, right?
I believe there are some Discord servers out there that the community owns. I know the dev
Okay.
forum is also very popular. We posted
Mm-hmm.
our 2026 challenge, so a lot of people have been posting there to find their
Mm-hmm.
teammates.
What I would say is have outreach. Um, Maybe look for people who are like just okay. For people who are new to Roblox developing, try to find other people new to Roblox developing. Or if you're a person who is really good at Roblox developing, maybe try to find people who are really good, but maybe kind of try to get other people on boarding too. Maybe you can teach them a thing or two. I would recommend just having a bunch of outreach. Really, try to look for a team. Help, like maybe find like a one person, and then both of y'all try to find a person, and then y'all all try to work together to find the last person. Sort of rodeo. That's what I would probably do if I was alone and I didn't start with my friends helping me out.
Awesome. And we have time just for one last question, and I think you'll like this question too. From Naive Passion, what has been your favorite Armless Detective update and why?
Um, I would say my favorite Honest Detective update. Um, hmm. Probably our it's between two. It's either our Christmas update because the advent calendar and the map was awesome. Or I'm gonna say three actually. Probably our Christmas update, our modifiers update because it was really fun making the modifiers and coming up with cool ideas like little bunnies hopping around, or like the floor was really slippery, or this guy would pop up and like you had to like stay still for a little bit, or our collaboration update with this game called Retro Tower Defense. That was really fun to make and also play the other game, and see little honest detective people in Retro Tower Defense, as well as just a really cool map we had. It was like a classic island with other islands around it, and you just had to escape. You got like stuck in their game, so you had to get out of their game and go back to Honest Detective. It was pretty good. It was pretty cool. I really liked it.
Yeah, I would say those updates are were really awesome for sure. I played the Christmas one a lot, so I can attest to that. But yes, thank you so much, Gooberish. And like we mentioned before, the Inspired Challenge is coming on July 31st at 10 a.m. PT. So don't want to miss it. The theme will drop then. And don't worry, Inspire is not over yet. We have one more workshop today at 8 p.m. PT about game planning and avatar design for user experiences. But thank you guys so much, and I will see you guys again soon. Bye, everyone.
Bye.